Hey guys, Ezra here, and welcome back to another Ezra review. And on today's review, I want to talk about Silent Hill 2, specifically the story for Silent Hill 2. Now, this is probably continuing the trend where I review games that I watch instead of playing, And here's the thing, I decided to do this review because Silent Hill 2 remake are about to came out this year, and I think on this Friday on Pacific time, I think there is a Silent Hill transmission by Konami, obviously. So I think we might get an update for Silent Hill 2 and maybe other Silent Hill project as well. And of course, the upcoming movie, that will be adapting Silent Hill 2, which I kind of wait to watch that. So I decided I want to talk about Silent Hill 2, the story, because I feel like that's what people are remembering from Silent Hill 2, and not necessarily the gameplay, because I watched the full like walkthrough of the gameplay, to be honest, or I guess was a streamer playing Silent Hill 2, like the whole Silent Hill 2 in like 2 runs, I think, or 1 run, I forgot. But the point is, he plays 9 hours of Silent Hill 2, and the gameplay was like, I don't know, it's kind of boring, by just watching it, because sometimes when you're watching a gameplay, that it could be fun or it could be boring. So, but that's all I'm gonna say about the gameplay because we're here to review the story, and of course, spoilers for anybody who haven't played Silent Hill 2 or probably waiting for Silent Hill 2 remake, so you might want to skip this video, and then maybe come back later on when you play Silent Hill 2 remake, because again, I will spoil the entire story, because I think it's just way more fun. Or well, it wasn't fun, but I guess it's way more in depth for me to do like a review for the story, so that's why I decided to do that. And yeah, so let's begin, shall we? So Silent Hill 2 basically follow a protagonist named James Sunderland, where he comes to Silent Hill after apparently receiving a letter from his wife Mary, who has been suffering from an illness and apparently died 3 years ago. And that's essentially becoming the mystery of the game, because like you're kind of guessing what happened to his wife, So basically, James met several people in the Silent Hill town. One of them is Angela, who is a 19-year-old who basically searching for her mother. He also met Eddie, I think, which is like another runaway in Silent Hill, and Laura, which is like I guess an 8-year-old kid, who basically befriended Mary. And yeah, the game itself, the story was pretty interesting because obviously in the beginning you kind of like put in James' shoes. Obviously, I mean, to be fair, the entire game you are put in James' shoes, but I feel like in the beginning you were kind of expecting this to be like a tragic love story, which I think it kind of is, but it's actually way more than that, and you kind of get that, oh, like James is a loving husband to his wife Mary, because like he loves his wife and then he wants to meet her again, so it's like, okay, like you were I was actually kind of rooting for like a loving reunion between the two of them, but at the same time I know that this is a Silent Hill game, so it's probably not gonna be a happy reunion between the two of them, and as the game progresses, we see again, like I said before, James met several other people in the town, so they all basically goes into the same psychological experience like James, except they are having a different story, and I think they are pretty interesting to explore, for the game. And as the game move forward, we actually find out more and more about like James' wife, Mary, like what actually happened to her, and because James also met one woman named Maria, who basically strongly resembles Mary, and that also becomes a mystery. I was like, oh, is that actually Mary, or is it actually the doppelganger, or is it actually like, the town manifests Maria in a way, which like, yeah, I think the way they use the town Silent Hill in this game was actually much more interesting because if I remember correctly from Silent Hill 2, Silent Hill 1 and 3, there is an actual cult that live in the town. I think it was called the Order, I think. And they basically deal with like satanic and God, and then they try to summon a devil, I think, which like, damn, dude, like it's just like a really dark, like supernatural fantasy in a way. But I feel like Silent Hill 2 is special for so many people because of the psychological thriller experience, and that's why I think the story was much more interesting because you are keep guessing what the hell is happening in this town, and the town basically took a back seat because you are focusing more on James Sunderland, because like now he messed with several people, obviously you got Eddie, which is like super aggressive, or like accused for being for murdering someone. And then when you first met him, you're like, no, 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 I'm innocent, I'm not exactly killing anybody. And then as the game progressed, you kind of figure out that, oh, Eddie's actually killed this person. And then because like everybody has been making fun of him, and that's why he has a gun and try to kill everybody and James at the same time. But sadly James has to put him down because he was forced to, because other is about is either him or Eddie. So like James was forced to put down Eddie. And you also get Angela, which is basically a traumatized 19-year-old teenagers that was abused by her father, I think, because that's like the imagery that I get from her cutscenes, that he said she's trying to search for her mother, but eventually that we found out that I think Angela was actually, you know, actually way has a way darker story, because like when I'm actually reading like the details of the story for Angela, because I think the game was like interpretation in a way. Like her father and brother apparently had, did something really, well, let's just say really sexual, when she was a child, and that's why uh she's searching for her mother because her mother allowed it to happen. So I think that's also another twist in the story, because I thought that, oh, Angela was just looking for her mother, but apparently the reason why she was looking for her mother is because she wants to, I guess, I don't know, like punish her, I think, or maybe killing her mother. I'm not exactly sure. And a nearby newspaper apparently implies that Angela killed her father before coming to Silent Hill. So I think, yeah, I think it's a really tragic character, because like she doesn't have a good ending, And to be fair, none of these characters have a good ending. Like this is the depressing part of Silent Hill 2. Final scene for Angela, she basically walked into a fire, and presumably died there, just like Eddie did, except Eddie was killed by James, forcefully. And then bring us to Laura, which is like the 8-year-old girl who actually befriended Mary. And I think apparently Mary and I think Mary met Laura somewhere, sometime in the game. I think either he was in hospital or somewhere else. Yeah, so basically they plan to adopt Laura together. Sadly, that didn't really happen, until the event of Silent Hill 2. If you get like the best ending, even the best ending is pretty sad, which we're gonna talk about that later. Um, but obviously we have one more character before we get to James. There is Maria, and I think Maria is obviously the manifestation of Mary in a way by Silent Hill. And Maria was actually killed by the Pyramid Head, which is like the most famous monster in the game. She died twice in the game, and I think three times if you have like a different path in a way. Like if James actually accept that she, like, he did what he had to do back in the past. So I think the scene where Maria and James was talking inside the prison cell, I found it to be really interesting, because I think that's like James tried to confront his past, and then I think there is a visual imagery for what actually happened to Mary in that particular scenes, which I absolutely love. And let's talk about James. I think James is a really interesting character for me, because like sure, like you can think that he's able to defeat some of the monster, but at the same time he's not exactly like a hero character. He's actually a really tragic and depressing character, because like his wife was sick, and then like Mary was just unable to be, obviously he's really stressful, and even lashing out at James at one point, because like like she was really sick, like her face was like deteriorating, I think. And I think that's she's really mad at James, even though James are just trying to be there for Maria, sorry, for Mary essentially. Um, but obviously because of her sickness, and obviously the entire situation, their relationship are kind of strained in a way, but at the same time, it's also really sad, because I immediately after that, Mary was like, apologizing to James that please don't leave me, please be with me until the very end. And eventually, Mary requested to James that she wants to die, because like this is like her life are really, really painful. And James, decided to follow Mary's request by killing her by stucking her face, or like smothering her face with a pillow, and that eventually kill her. Um, and that's basically becoming the truth for what happened in for James' story. So in the beginning you are expecting to see like maybe a loving reunion between the two of them. That's like my hope essentially, but I kind of know that it's a Silent Hill game, so it can't be really that happy. And I didn't expect the answer to be that depressing, that he decided to kill Mary because Mary requested him, that she wants to die, like she can't take this anymore, so just please just kill me, and in the end it's like a mercy. It wasn't, I don't know if it was a mercy kill in a way where, because I feel like James are obviously feeling really really guilty about the entire situation. And I don't think the games, the way they presented the ending of this game, because like I said, Maria was like another manifestation by the town Silent Hill, and I think it's really interesting if you actually accept that you indeed killed your wife, and then you are preparing to move on from the entire situation, that you're not going to be stuck in the past, and not living with regret essentially, and just moving on with your life. Maria essentially turned into like a monster, and then James has to fight her, before eventually leaving the town with Laura, essentially like fulfilling his wife request, because like Mary plans to adopt Laura, I think that's like the best ending, the leaf ending, which is essentially where James essentially reads her letter and then eventually leave the town with Laura, and there is several other ending as well, like in water, James basically commits suicide, and then Maria ending basically there's this one ending where I think James and Maria also leave the town alive, but at the same time it was implied that Maria was actually sick, because she was actually starting to cough, and then suggesting that the cycle will repeat again. And I think that's like an interesting choice there. I think Konami actually keep their like their ending ambiguous, and I think Konami decided to keep their ending, their canon ending ambiguous, so basically leaving the choice to the player, obviously. But I do think Leaf is like the best ending for in this game, like quote unquote the best, because like it's still really sad, because obviously you read her Mary's letter, like she wants to die, but at the same time she also loves James, she wants to have a happy life with James, but the situation is just not possible because like again she has an illness, right? So James decided to move on and then leave the town together along with Laura, which he presumably adopt, obviously, which is like that's what's Mary's plan was in the beginning. So I think that's like the best ending in my opinion. And there is some joke ending with the UFO, which is like whatever, to be honest. But either way, that's I guess that my Silent Hill story review. That I mean, it's like a recap, but also like I think a bit of a review that I think is like really interesting, that the psychological thriller aspect of Silent Hill 2, that's essentially becoming the best aspect of the game. And why Silent Hill 2 is the best among all the other Silent Hill game, because it doesn't necessarily have a story about like demons or devil or god or like the craziest satanic cult in a way. Like it's not that, like Silent Hill actually take a background seat in this one, and lets the character James Sunderland to become the main character. You are following his story, and I think the gameplay and the combat of Silent Hill 2 is not exactly what people remember from this game, but essentially the story and the character and the atmosphere of the game is what people remember. It's probably the most emotional horror games ever, and I personally kind of wait to see how they're gonna handle the story in Silent Hill 2 remake. Hopefully they don't like fumble the story. Hopefully they don't cut anything from the story, and hopefully they just enhance the original story and could make it better. I don't know how you make it better, but still, I think there might be a way for them to make the story even better. So fingers crossed here that Konami doesn't mess this remake in the future. So yeah, I guess we'll see about Silent Hill 2 remake. We might get a release date in the next Silent Hill transmission, which is this Friday. So I guess we'll see about that. But yeah, I guess that's my review for Silent Hill 2 story, guys. Again, it's a really emotional, psychological thriller story, and I think if you are indeed playing the game, then I want to know what's your opinions about the gameplay and the combat of Silent Hill 2, because like, again, I just watched the gameplay, I watched a stream, so, and to me, I was like, oh, it looks boring, but what about you guys' experience who actually play Silent Hill 2? Like, do you guys find the gameplay experience to be boring, or is it actually just okay, So let me know all that in the comment section below, and let me know what you guys think about the story of Silent Hill 2, like Do you guys find this story to be super depressing, or you guys just like okay with it? Like let me know all your opinions in the comment section below, because I would love to hear about them. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this review, then make sure to guys shoot that subscribe and like button, guys, and share the videos to usual stuff, guys. And yeah, stay tuned for more videos in the future, and I hope you guys enjoy this review, and I will see you guys in the next one then. Bye.